1. The Timberline Choir. Northern Rockies. When graduate botanist Mara Quinn accepts a 2-week solo study grant in Montana's Absaroka-Beartooth backcountry, she intends to map lichen growth at high altitudes and, finally, outrun the grief that's shadowed her since her twin brother drowned last winter. The ranger drops her at Deadman Pass with a terse warning: if dusk comes, shelter under stone. Day 3, Mara hears faint harmonies riding the alpine wind, human voices repeating the 5-note scale her brother whistled absent-mindedly. She dismisses it as hypoxia until she spies a line of rough-hewn ladders hammered into a granite cliff, ascending into cloud. Carved beside the lowest rung, "Come sing us down." Ascending brings vertigo and an impossible tree-line of bleached trunks growing sideways from the cliff face, branches interlocking overhead like cathedral rafters. Their leaves are parchment thin, vibrating to create that humming choir. Inside each leaf she sees the ghost of a human face, mouths open in silent song. The trees bud new leaves while she watches, sprouting her dead brother's face, eyes pleading for release. When she reaches to tear it free, sap, warm as blood, spills onto her wrist, and the entire forest exhales her brother's name. Night falls in a single, sudden blink, and the Timberline Choir begins its full, awful anthem. Figures half-grown from trunks shamble toward her, hikers lost in the pass for decades, skin fused with wood, still alive. They offer her the same choice every mountaineer eventually faces here. Stay, root, and forget pain, or return to the valley and remember everything. Mara's final field journal ends mid-sentence after describing an all-night symphony of grief. Rangers found the notebook wedged between 2 newly sprouted saplings. One bore a leaf with Mara's smiling face, the other, perfectly twinned, carried her brother's. 2. The Mirror Manor Seance. Old Hollow Plantation, Louisiana. Veronica Bell, true crime podcaster with sagging download numbers, books a weekend livestream inside Belmar House, shuttered since 1912 when Cotton Baron Theodore Belmar murdered his family before vanishing into the marsh. Legend says every mirror in the mansion still shows a room that isn't quite the one you stand in. Night 1, Veronica's producer sets a tableau, candelabra, motion cameras, floor-to-ceiling mirrors uncovered for effect. At 2:13 a.m. the upstairs feed drops. On the surviving camera Veronica appears doubled, her reflection lags, smiling a heartbeat too long. She breaks radio silence whispering, "Don't look behind the glass." Listeners spike, chat explodes in ASCII crosses. Shadows in the mirrors scuttle on ceilings and retreat when viewers spam "show yourself." Donation alerts chime like funeral bells. Mid-seance, the parlor's French door yawns inward though the veranda beyond still shows closed shutters in every mirrored surface. Theodore Belmar steps through those shutters, gaunt, face streaked with swamp mud, and places a bloody finger to his lips. But he's visible only in the reflection. In real space, the door stands empty. One by one, production crew chase phantom noises. One by one, their reflections stay behind, pressing blood-slick palms to the glass. Veronica, alone, realizes the house doesn't haunt the living, it courts an audience. Each mirror is a ticket booth, every viewer grants the entity more angles. She kills the stream. The silence detonates, every pane shatters outward, releasing a cyclone of shrieking Belmar ghosts, hungry for more spectators. Local deputies later find a single intact mirror, face down in the mud. Flip it over and the live stream still plays, stuck on loop, viewer count steadily rising, though the channel is long deleted. 3. Harvest of the Orchard Keeper. Rural Maryland, 1978-2025. Urban legend says the Ash Grave Orchard Keeper moves each autumn, planting apple trees over the graves of drifters to steep his cider in terror and loam. The killing stopped in '79 after a barn fire revealed 16 skulls packed in cider barrels, each with a polished silver dollar under the tongue. October 2025, true crime blogger Eli Cho tracks a pattern of unusually large apple yields to a neglected farm outside Parish Creek. The elderly owner, Jonah Wicks, invites him for mulled cider. Wicks's hands shake, but his voice is sweet as pressed fruit. Eli sets motion sensors. Night vision captures Wicks dragging scarecrows to the orchard's edge, whispering what sounds like prayer. Closer inspection shows each scarecrow stitched from tanned human hides, silver dollars glittering where lips should be. Eli rescues a bleeding woman lashed to a trunk, but Wicks ambushes him with a pruning shear through the thigh, monologuing that the orchard demands souls to sweeten its sap. The roots remember every scream, he croons. The soil, disturbed by decades of decay, collapses, exposing a lattice of interwoven skeletons. Roots grow from eye sockets, bones pulse like wet timber. The orchard itself awakens, vines throttling Eli and Wicks alike. In the final body cam frame, Eli whispers, "We are the cider now," as crimson juice bubbles up, steaming in the cold. Sheriff's deputies arrive at dawn to find the trees bending inward, branches clasped like praying hands. The apples taste of copper. The barrels on Jonah's porch are warm despite the frost and sealed tight with hammered silver coins. 4. The lock below Sycamore Ridge. Subterranean lake/Appalachian cave system. Spelunking Club, Mudrats, descends an uncharted vertical shaft beneath Sycamore Ridge, Tennessee. At 900 feet they discover an underground lake so still it mirrors their helmet lamps perfectly. A single canoe, impossibly intact and dating to the 1800s, rocks against the stone shore. Mapping sonar shows the water to be only 6 feet deep, yet an echo sounder returns a second, deeper floor, moving. When rookie diver Laney slips beneath the surface, her tether jerks twice. She surfaces wordless, pupils the size of dimes, whispering, "It sees through me." The team camps on a limestone ledge. At night, their watches say 3:17, a figure paddles the antique canoe soundlessly across the inverted starlight. Lantern glow reveals it wears a necklace of air bubbles where a head should be, a perfect sphere of nothing framed by dripping black hair. It capsizes itself deliberately, limbs spider-long, and never resurfaces. Seconds later the lake erupts, hundreds of pale arms clawing over each other, forming a human ladder toward the ledge. These aren't bodies. They're flesh-colored, boneless appendages sprouting from the thing below, bait mimicking prey. In blind panic the mudrats rappel back up the shaft, but the stone has grown slick with bioluminescent mucus. Last radio transmission from team leader Mike Sanders, tunnels breathing behind us, walls soft, if we stop, we sink. Search crews find only the tether line, severed, and a perfectly calm lake now 60 feet higher. The entrance shaft sealed itself within a fortnight, quartz flowstone knitting like scar tissue. Locals swear the whole ridge hums after rain, as though something vast beneath is laughing underwater. 5. Roadkill Gospel. Highway 17, Arizona Desert. Every traveler on Highway 17 has seen the billboard just past mile 239, free rest, free redemption, 1 mile ahead. No arrows, no exit, just endless sage. Truckers joke it's a mirage sponsored by the Church of Sunstroke. Diaz and Harper, runaway siblings with nothing but an overheating Pontiac and a duffel of stolen cash, spot the sign as dusk bleeds purple. An unmarked dirt track appears where GPS shows blank. They follow it to a desert chapel surrounded by humming sodium lamps and a parking lot full of cars with keys still dangling. Inside, rows of pews face 6 coffins nailed upright like confessionals. Each lid bears a nameplate etched with whoever opens it. Diaz's appears mid-grain before his eyes. A gramophone clicks on, broadcasting a sermon in reverse Latin. Organ music follows from beneath the floorboards. A priest with no face, just desert night visible through a hole where features should be, offers communion, strips of jerky tasting of ash and fur. Harper refuses. Diaz eats and hears a distant freeway choir singing a hymn about never having to leave. Cameras hidden behind stained glass reveal why no one leaves. The parking lot cars are empty husks, their occupants absorbed. The 6 coffins aren't for burial, they're doorways. Through splits in the slats Harper glimpses a midnight highway running infinite, lined with duplicate billboards, each coffin door opening onto a different traveler's last rest stop. The chapel shakes, something titanic prowls the rooftop, talons tapping Morse code, stay. Harper drags Diaz out, pursued by the faceless priest whose cassock unravels into tar-black wings. They barrel onto the main road, but the world ahead is a looping film. The Pontiac's headlights illuminate the same billboard again, and again. Harper floors it until the fuel gauge kisses empty. The desert ahead finally changes, a tidy rest area, a single phone booth. She calls 911. The dispatcher answers, voice full of static and dust, confessional 6 is now vacant. Welcome home. State Patrol later tows an empty Pontiac found idling at mile 239, trunk full of jerky strips that still twitch like fresh roadkill. Closing the cover. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.